Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. Well, what we have here is a typical place where Democrats are lying and letting pretty much every single American just starve. I'll have my own opinions about SNAP later in this video, but they're really just letting Americans starve. And as you can see here, as 25 states are trying to sue the Trump administration over SNAP food, SNAP freeze during shutdown. So that's what's going on here, and a bit more of this clip where they're kind of explaining on what's really going on and how 48 million Americans are pretty much just going to go hungry because, Democrats are the problem here. So let's give you this.
More than 40 million Americans now set to lose food benefits in just days. The Department of Agriculture now saying the well has run dry, in their words. Tonight, more than 24 states now suing the Trump administration, saying this is cruelty. Jay O'Brien on the Hill tonight.
Tonight, day 28 of the government shutdown, and now 42 million lower-income Americans are about to lose critical food assistance. The Department of Agriculture now saying, quote, the well has run dry. And tonight, 24 Democrat-led states suing the Trump administration to force it to use emergency funds to cover SNAP.
I mean, enough of this. Cruelty is the policy. That's what this is about. It's intentional cruelty, intentionally creating anxiety for millions and millions of people.
That means Americans across at least 48 states, like Dana Tuller, a mother of 5 working 3 different jobs, will lose SNAP benefits come the 1st of November.
I'm angry. I'm angry that the politicians that make the decisions don't care. They can just go on vacation, go on recess, and not worry about what's happening to their constituents.
Tonight, tens of thousands of workers furloughed, many not getting paychecks, including workers who keep the skies safe. Air traffic controllers working 6 days a week, now missing their first full paycheck, pay stubs like this one reading 0. Democrats holding firm, saying Republicans must join them in addressing a looming health insurance crisis. Democrats fighting for an extension of expiring Obamacare tax credits, which would keep premiums from skyrocketing for some 20 million Americans.
We're on the precipice of a historic crisis, and Republicans don't even want to talk to us about fixing it. And Trump, where's he? Not even in the U.S.
This, Sharman.
Yeah, Erica, the Attorney General is filing suit. Anti-hunger advocates want the state to step in and pony up the funds. And tonight, people who rely on SNAP are worried about the future.
I'm just very worried about what I'm going to do.
At a State House rally, tears stream down Iris Yvette Montefar's face when she talks about trying to feed her family without food stamps.
Don't take it away. Today is my son's birthday, and I can't even have a pizza party for him.
The Trump administration says the well has run dry. It won't release emergency funds for SNAP benefits November 1st because of the government shutdown. Attorney General Andrea Campbell and several other states are suing the Trump administration.
We're asking the court to step in because they have not done what's required of them, which is to deliver these SNAP benefits to our families.
The federal government sends Massachusetts $240 million a month for SNAP. Anti-hunger advocates want the state to tap into its $8 billion rainy day fund to temporarily keep the program afloat.
In the absence of federal action, we are urging the state to pull from the rainy day fund.
Governor Healy has pushed back on using state funds to pay for SNAP. She's blaming President Trump, demanding the federal government pay for the program.
It's like I'm in shock.
People on food stamps say they're worried about what's next.
Towards getting to the end of the month, I ran out of food stamps, so I had to rely on food pantry.
And 1.1 million people in Massachusetts depend on SNAP benefits. And in fact, food pantries like this one behind me, they say they're only concerned that pressure on them will continue to grow should the benefits run out.
Yeah, so as you can see here, this is just one big political game for them. This is something that they are doing here in order to, try to just confuse people. And it really shocks me on how we can have far leftists really go out and defend the Democrats and all this, because the insanity here is what's insane. And they constantly lie. So what we have here is that just Democrats have emergency funds. They can they're using this as a political game, so they can say that the Republicans are the ones that are not giving people food, yet they're the ones that are refusing to use their emergency funds to give people food and let people starve. Now, I don't think that this is a perfectly good example on to why you should not be at the behest of the government, because the government can just go and do this, and this is the reason why you need to be self-sufficient and do your own stuff, be able to pay for your own food, because you cannot be relying on the government. And this is a prime example onto why relying on the government is a huge issue. And even still, we have this here, where we have, as of October 30th, 2025, amid the ongoing federal government shutdown causing a lapse in SNAP funding, 25 U.S. states have announced plans to allocate their own emergency or state funds to provide temporary food assistance, such as direct benefits, support food banks, or related programs. This is based on compilation of recent announcements from state governments and does not include territories like Guam or the Northern Mariana Islands, nor does it count states relying solely on private donations, volunteer efforts, or federal extensions without state financial contributions. And of course, we have this here where you have this where Arizona has assistance provided, and it has $1.8 million in food stamps and reserves. They have California has $80 million. Colorado has $10 million. Connecticut has $3 million. Delaware is not specified. Hawaii has $2 million. Illinois has $20 million. Iowa has up to $1 million. Kentucky is not specified. Louisiana has up to $150 million. Maine is $1 million. Maryland is $10 million. Massachusetts is $4 million. Minnesota is $4 million. And Missouri has $5 million plus $10 million for seniors. $38 million is Nevada. $30 million is New Mexico, which is what we're going to be getting to very shortly here. And then New York has $65 million, total of $106 million. North Dakota is 1.5. Oregon is $5 million. $6 million and $200 million in the food bank for Rhode Island. 6.3 is in Vermont. 37 million is for Virginia. 2.2 million is in Washington, and 13 million is in West Virginia. And as you can see here, that majority of these states have not announced that there was an emergency. And let's just go count the ones that have declared states of emergency. And California is no. Colorado is no. Connecticut is no. Delaware is yes. So that's one Democratic state that said yes. Hawaii is no. Illinois is no. And we have here where Massachusetts is again no. I think that's just a red state, so I could be wrong about that one. Minnesota is no. Missouri is no. New Mexico is no. New York is yes. So they actually said, we have an actual emergency here. We got to do something. Oregon is yes. Rhode Island is yes. Vermont is no. Virginia is yes. And Washington is no. So what we have here is that the majority of these Democratic states have declared no emergency for food stamps for this type of stuff. So as you can see here, the Democrats are not doing very faithful work. And we have this here with even CNN is quite honestly calling them out on their BS. It's like, hey guys, you're not really doing a good job. Like this is all on you. And it's not good.
That 42 million Americans will not have food stamp coverage as of Saturday, and we covered it yesterday, and I covered it earlier today, and I'm going to cover it tomorrow as well. But this is a report from the House Oversight Committee, the majority, and I talked to the chairman of the committee, who suggested that more legislation would be needed to outline exactly who a president should be able to grant a pardon to. Is that something that you think both parties could agree upon?
Well, I think, first of all, the House needs to come back in session. Mike Johnson has now canceled the House of Representatives for 39 straight days. We are in day 28 of a House shutdown. They are literally not here. The president is overseas, as I just said, and they are about to cut off food assistance to millions of Americans. And so I think it's bizarre that Chairman Comer is going on TV talking about an investigation into a former president who's not even a sitting president over a non-issue while literally Americans are about to starve.
So the reason that SNAP is running out of funding, understand there's a disagreement about the contingency plan, And whether
it's not a disagreement. Literally, Congress approved money for this scenario. The White House is choosing to let Americans go
Well,
without
the
food
Agriculture
assistance.
Department argues that the contingency funds, $6 billion, is there for natural disaster. I know that that's disputed. But if you are so concerned about SNAP funds running out, why not ask Democrats in the Senate to vote to open up the government? And then the SNAP funding would go. I mean, I understand the dispute about the contingency fund, and that's a real dispute. And that's $6 billion that could fund the SNAP program for 2 to 3 more weeks. But if we're actually talking about long term, why not have Senate Democrats vote to open up the government?
Well, so first of all, I filed legislation in the House of Representatives today. Even though Mike Johnson has shut down the House, there are pro forma sessions happening on the House floor. And today I filed the snapback legislation that would force the administration to release those funds, to not cut off EBT cards to millions of Americans, and that would reimburse states and tribes. So I'm doing my part here in the House, but I cannot vote for a bill until it comes to the House, and Mike Johnson has shut down the House, and the president is nowhere to be found. Now, I'm a former OMB official, and I can tell you that OMB is breaking the law right now. Congress has appropriated the dollars, and state attorney generals have filed suit today in federal court to compel the administration to release those funds because they are breaking the law. And we know that they know that they're breaking the law because just a couple of weeks ago, they moved funds into WIC to save WIC. But they think that they can use the hunger of children to try to leverage Democrats rather than feeding 42 million Americans. And we're not going to stand for it. We're going to sue them. We're going to use the courts. We're going to use Congress. And we're going to do everything we can at the community level to make sure that Americans can put food on the table this weekend.
Should the
and we're not going to stand for it.
Should the Democratic senators from New Mexico, your home state, vote to open the government so that these SNAP funds are not at risk?
No, they won't do that because they have to do something that is political for them. They have to play this card to where, like, oh well, we're not gonna do that. See, we don't mind having Americans starve because we have to push our political agenda and we have to make sure that the Republicans are losing, even though they're the ones that are not losing and they're the ones that are actually gaining in all this, which we'll find out shortly later in the video. So again, the Democrats are playing a stupid game here, and they're essentially letting Americans starve just for the mere fact that they can just get political points, which they're not gaining either. So I don't know what they're doing.
Let me be clear. The administration is choosing to starve American children with money that they already have appropriated.
I'm not applauding their
choice
their
by
tactics.
The White House.
Well,
this is a choice by the White House.
This
they
is
are
also,
choosing
Congresswoman,
to cut
this is
off
also a
food
choice
assistance.
by Senate Democrats
No,
to not
it is
vote to
not.
open the government. Yes, it is. I understand why they're doing it. They're doing it because they want Medicaid funds restored. They're doing it because they want Obamacare premiums to be extended past the end of the year. I understand the reasoning.
Sir, let me just be clear. The money for contingency plans is sitting there. That is why the states are suing. The White House is withholding funds from
2 to 3 weeks worth
to
of SNAP
have
funds.
Food.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it may not be a big deal to you, but let me
it is
tell
a big
you
deal
that
to
for
me.
the grandparents, for grandparents
It is a big deal
that
to me.
literally are feeding their children.
My point is that it's a short-term
money
solution.
In those accounts.
It's
it
a
doesn't
short-term.
matter. At the end of the day, people need to be able to feed their families, and Saturday is when those funds
If you
run
feel
out,
so
and
strongly,
we are fighting
Congresswoman.
Yeah, so again,
The U.S. government
it is what it is. Like, this is how the Democrats do it. And again, I'm going to show you guys on how badly this is failing for the Democrats. Like, this is not a win for the Democrats at all. In fact, it's a major loss because what we have here is to where the GOP, the Republicans, are winning outright on this, and the Democrats are straight up losing.
With Republicans, how has the shutdown seemed to have affected their political standing?
Yeah, you might think, given that the Republicans are in charge of both the House and the Senate, that a government shutdown might actually hurt the Republican brand. But in fact, it hasn't. If anything, it's been helped a little bit. Take a look here, the shift in net popularity versus pre-shutdown. When we're looking at the Republican Party overall, that brand actually up 2 points. That's within the margin of error, but clearly it hasn't dropped. Come over to this side of the screen. Look at the net approval ratings for Republicans in Congress. It's actually up 5 points since pre-shutdown. So what we're seeing here is the Republican brand in Congress has actually improved somewhat compared to where we were pre-shutdown, despite the fact that Republicans control. And that's the math that John Thune and Mike Johnson are looking at is, well, hey, why should we give, and electorally speaking, when our brand has actually improved a little bit?
Now, we say their position is getting better. With whom?
Yeah, okay, with whom? So I think it's two groups that it's so important to keep an eye out on. All right, change in the Republican Congress's net approval rating versus pre-shutdown. It's rallying the base for sure. Look at this, the net approval rating up 12 points versus pre-shutdown. But it's not just with the base. It's also with the middle of the electorate. Look at this, among independents. It's up 8 points as well. So we've got a situation here where Republicans with the shutdown are actually rallying their base, but it's also something that's not hurting them with the folks in the middle. If anything, it's helping them with folks in the middle. And this is the type of math that if you're Republicans, you like to see, right? Because something could rally the base but alienate those in the middle, or something could rally those in the middle but alienate the base. But the truth is, we're not seeing that. What we're seeing is the Republican brand has actually gotten better among independents, and it's also gotten better among Republicans as well, that Republican brand when it comes to those in Congress. So again, what's the electoral reason that Republicans would give in at this point?
And Democrats, of course, they have their eyes on the midterm elections. Yeah, we have elections 1 week from today, but what Democrats in Congress are mostly focused on are 1 year and 1 week from today from the midterm. So how are they positioned right now?
Yeah, so, I mean, look, the generic congressional ballot, which traditionally Democrats have done really well on, and if you look at this point back when Trump was president the first time around, Democrats are up 11 points. Look at where it is now. Democrats are ahead, but they're actually only up 3 points. This is, in fact, the worst position Democrats have been on in a generic ballot at this point in midterm when there was a Republican president in the last 20 years. And this is no different from pre-shutdown. So Republicans aren't losing on this metric either. They become more popular, and they're actually in a pretty good position for them historically when it comes to the generic congressional ballot.
This is a concerning number for Democrats, are you saying, Congress?
This is a concerning number for Democrats because it's considerably worse than they traditionally do in midterm elections when there's a Republican president.
Harry Etten, thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, so I don't know what the Democrats are exactly doing here. It doesn't seem like this is a remote benefit to them at all. So let's put this down, what we have here. So the government is shut down because of the Democrats, because they want to give money to illegal immigrants and healthcare. Then they're blaming the Republicans for shutting down the government, yet they have billions of dollars being able to give money to people to feed them, yet they refuse to give out the money or do anything, any form of emergency, because to them, it's not really an emergency. They're going to let people starve because they want to push an agenda. It's all a game to them. They're playing with people's lives and their hunger because that's just the way the Democrats are. The fact that people are still believing and trusting in the Democratic Party is insane to me, and there's a reason why I think that a lot of the people that are within the Democratic Party have a severe mental illness, because there's no way that you can see this and be like, this is not the Democrats' fault, because again, they're the ones doing this. Like, they're not even like allowing to do an emergency to give people their food. Like, what are we doing here? So again, guys, this is just another example of Democrats failing and failing and failing over and over again. And this whole charade, facade, game that they're playing is falling and failing them, and they're still continue it like absolute children. It is quite wild, honestly. So, guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share. As always, take care, my friends.